Matthew Ford, history teacher by day and delusional novelist by night, choked on his Earl Grey. It wasn't just the tea, brewed to the precise temperature of lukewarm despair, or the Everest of student essays. Why Genghis Khan was, like totally awesome, mocking him from his desk. It was Susan, or rather, the Susan-shaped hole in his life. Her note, a masterpiece of passive-aggressive brevity, lay on the kitchen counter, a casualty in the ongoing war between Matthew's literary ambitions and his ability to maintain a functional relationship. Gone to find someone who doesn't think semicolons are a substitute for personality, it read. Ouch. The Mist on the Moor, his second novel, a sprawling saga of sheep rustling and unrequited love in 19th century Yorkshire, was about to be published. A triumph? Hardly. More like a participation trophy in the Olympics of mediocrity. He was the tragic hero of his own life, except the tragedy was mostly self-inflicted and involved questionable fashion choices. Jenny, his perpetually optimistic friend, saw the publication as a sign. Matt, darling, this is it. You're going to be the next, someone famous who writes about moors, she chirped, her voice laced with the caffeine-fueled enthusiasm of someone who hadn't actually read the book. Barry, the voice of suburban reason, was less impressed. You alienated her, mate, he declared, polishing off a pint at their usual pub, always banging on about artistic integrity while she's stuck microwaving ready meals. Barry, a man whose idea of literary excitement was the Argos catalogue, clearly didn't get it. The publishing industry, personified by his editor, Marlene Shapiro, was a whole other level of crazy. Marlene was a human stiletto heel, all sharp angles and even sharper insults. She saw potential in Matthew, mostly the potential to generate revenue. The Mist on the Moor was quaint, she'd said, her voice dripping with condescension. We need sizzle. Think vampires. Think werewolves. Think sheep-shagging werewolves. The news that The Mist on the Moor had been remaindered hit Matthew harder than a GCSE history exam. His magnum opus, destined for the literary scrap heap. Marlene's solution? Reinvent himself. Become, wait for it, Spicy McThriller, a pen name for a series of potboilers guaranteed to appeal to the lowest common denominator. He hesitated. Could he do it? Could he sell his soul for a slightly larger flat? The money was tempting, a sugary donut in the face of existential dread. But the thought of churning out formulaic thrillers with titles like Killer Cupcakes and The Babysitter's Chainsaw felt like a slow, agonizing death by cliché. He tried, bless his cotton socks. He sat at his desk, the ghost of Susan judging him silently from the bookshelf, and attempted to write the literary equivalent of fast food. But the words felt wrong. He was a fraud, a literary imposter wearing a very bad wig. The pressure mounted. The deadlines loomed. The weight of his questionable decisions threatened to crush him. He was losing himself, one ridiculous plot twist at a time, to the persona of Spicy McThriller. He started wearing leather trousers. It was a dark time. The climax arrived in a glorious, alcohol-fueled train wreck. A drunken argument with Jenny, fueled by cheap wine and shattered dreams. A disastrous meeting with Marlene, where he finally snapped and declared that sheep-shagging werewolves were an abomination. A moment of stark clarity where he realized he'd become the literary equivalent of a novelty toilet seat. He walked away from it all, from Marlene, from the glittering promise of literary infamy. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew he couldn't spend another day writing about killer cupcakes. Matthew Ford was left to pick up the pieces, to rebuild his life, to rediscover his voice. Had he made the right choice? Had he sacrificed his chance at literary glory for the sake of his sanity? The answer, like a good cup of Earl Grey, was complicated and slightly bitter. It was a cautionary tale, a reminder that the pursuit of success, if not carefully managed, can lead to the ultimate betrayal, the betrayal of one's own ridiculous self. And also maybe that semicolons aren't always the answer.